Those hipsters, I want dance.
I said, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop talking to me. Don't stop giving me things.
Okay guys, so I'm back with another F1 2013 game news video on what we know so far, based on the tweets of Stephen Hood, the creative designer from Codemasters F1 games. I'm just going to go through and read out a few tweets and put out my opinion of some of the things that Steve Hood has been answering from the public in the past few weeks. There's about 10 or so tweets, so let's get straight into it. The first tweet is from Christian Hegener. He says, any chance for a formation lap with heating up tyres and brakes in the next games, maybe with limited speed, like behind the safety car? And Steve says, yes, I'm warming to the idea of a formation lap, which is very good. It's a new feature. Personally, I wouldn't like to see it for shorter races, probably for races at least of 25% distance, because if you're doing a formation lap when you're only doing like a sprint mode race or something, that'd be pretty pointless. It'd take up about a quarter of the time just doing the slow lap. But I like the idea. You're solely responsible for heating up your tyres and your brakes, etc. I think it would add to the game a little bit, and it would be very nice to have in the game. Now, next tweet is from Dan and myself. This came from an incident in a league race that we had between each other with a lag bubble. I might even include the footage while I talk here, but Dan says, I love the F1 game, Luke, but bubbles like this ruin the game. We had a three-way horse for the entire race, and then I just forwarded it on to Steve Hood, and he replied, it's such a pain when that happens. It's a major annoyance. We're trying to handle it better. Internet is very tricky. So yeah, basically he says he's trying to work on the game, working like in regards to connections and lag and all that sort of thing, because it has been a major fault of the 2012 game and 2011, I believe. So, you know, they're making steps towards it, and I can't wait to see what the new game's going to look like with better internet connectivity. Now, the third tweet is from Tom Wright, and he says, do you have any plans to revert F1 2013 steering model and physics back to the 2011 style? I hope so, because 2011 was so fantastic. And Steve says, wait for 13 and let us know what you think. The car probably moves around a little bit more like in 2011. Now, it's not going to be entirely like 2011. I don't think they're going to go that drastically towards 2011, because it was quite unrealistic, just the way that you could throw the car into the corners at full steering lock and go like 4 or 5 seconds a lap faster than what you could in previous games and in real life. But I think they're going to try and find a nice balance between the two, between 2012 and 2011. I mentioned this in a previous video where Steve said that the cars are going to have a bit more oversteer, which I think is going to favour the wheel users, but, you know, I'd still like the pad users to be able to fight like they currently do now. But there is the argument that wheel users have, because they say that they pay more for their wheels, and they pay more because they have a wheel, and they're technically more serious gamers, and they're not like the casual gamer like a pad user is. But I'm not too sure on that one. You guys will have to let me know on that. I think it should be fair between the wheel and the pad, but that's just my opinion. But moving on to the next tweet, it's from Alex Gillen, and he says, oh, maybe I was mistaken, but good. Also, any chance of control over the fuel menu when sat waiting for the lights, just on the grid there? And Steve replies, yes, everything on the D-pad now is accessible before the lights go out. So when you're sitting there on the grid waiting for the 5 red lights to go out, you can put your fuel up into fast mixture, you can adjust your brake bias if need be. What else can you do? You can even adjust your tyres, what tyres you want to do on the pit stop, but that's way too early to think about doing that pit stop while you're sat on the grid. But that's a cool little feature he's little put in there. You know, for me, I like to go straight up into fast when I start the races, so that'll help me a little bit. I don't know about you guys. Maybe some people like to put the brake bias forward or rear for the first corner, so that'll help some people. And, you know, cheers to Steve for listening to people when they have little issues like that. But the next tweet is from Lewis Allen, and he says, will the 1-1 glitch in terms of aero and environmental effects on the wheel glitch be removed for the forthcoming F1 game? And Steve says, 1-1 error is sorted. What environmental glitch? It has not been very good. Sorry, it it not being very good isn't really a glitch, but the force feedback system has been changed. And I agree there, the force feedback system has been pretty poor on 2012. I didn't really have much feedback. As I mentioned in my last 2013 video, you can go check it out, but yeah, it just feels like you didn't have much control over the car when you go over a curb or something, and as you're about to spin, like you'd have not much indication of when it would happen. And also the twitchiness of the car when you go on straights, it was very hard to adjust to when you first played the game, but it's something I'm used to now, but it's not very realistic, so I hope for realistic sake it's much better. Next tweet is from Morris X Fusions, and he says, "Hey Steve, last year's new T-cam position was good, but it was too far forward, and will you be putting it back on F1 2013 to see the helmet?" And Steve replies with, "As the new 2013 car models go in, we'll play around with the camera views. I prefer to see the crash helmet too." And I agree with him. It was really only the McLaren on the 2012 game where you could really see the whole helmet, so that's probably why I like driving that car the most. What was disappointing was the Lotus. You couldn't see that helmet either, but if you could see all the helmets on all the cars, that'd be very nice. So just have a identical T-cam position on all the cars, that'd be nice as well. Next tweet is from Ben McShane. He says, "Let me ask you an important question about F1 2013. Will there be a vintage mode or historic mode into the game, including Senna, Prost and Schumacher?" I know it's asking a lot, but it would be awesome if that would be put into the game. But it may be too much work for you, but could you consider it for F1 2014, sorry. Steve Hood replies, "Would definitely want to include it. Ask me again in a few weeks and I'll tell you whether we're making process." So that's an encouraging sign, because he's actually thinking about it for this game. It might be just a like a scenario kind of mode, or a side kind of mode like Champions mode was on the 2012 game. I can't see it being a main flagship sort of game mode, but it'd be a nice off to the side sort of game mode for everyone to play. It'd definitely be interesting. I wonder if you could play with historic cars online. That'd be very good. Maybe even as DLC sometime in the future, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Next tweet is from Matt, and he says, "Hi Steve, what are you looking to do with the weather in 2013? I thought it was great in 2012. And he says, "All the weather is looking quite promising for 2013. Crucially sensible to play too. Hashtag 2013 Info Leak." Yeah, the 2012 weather was quite good. The 2013 weather, I think it needs to be a little bit more consistent compared to 2012, because there were some instances where some people would have a wetter track than other people and whatnot. But you know, other than that, I think the weather system on 2012 was quite great. So they've got quite a good base to work from, and you know, I'm expecting the weather to be great in 2013 as well. So next tweet is from Matthew Downs, and he says, "When cars are unequal, some cars such as the Williams and Force India are still better. Is this going to be sorted?" And Steve says, "Already done." Yeah, there were some cars that are a lot faster than others, particularly online. I found the Williams and the Sauber to be the fastest cars. Purely with straight line performance, the Sauber was lacking with cornering speed, but the Williams was just the best all-round car online. There were some cars that were just pretty horrible to drive, and I never drove them online. But if all the cars are 100% equal, as in they have the same characteristics, they all accelerate the same, get to the top speed the same, they all have the same grip, that'd be very nice, and it would certainly encourage better online and closer racing, I suppose. But the next tweet is from Getty Scott, and he says, "Hi Steve, just wondering if the safety car would be deployed more in F1 2013, and he says, "Yes, it will." And that's great, because I didn't really see the safety car much in 2012, or 2011 for that matter, because you know, I'd see it maybe once every couple of months, which is quite disappointing. It definitely needs to come out more, maybe when there's debris on the track, or when someone I don't know, just gets stuck for a few, like 30 seconds or 40 seconds or so because they've gone away or something. I'm not too sure, but definitely for career mode they need to increase it, and for online mode they need to I'm not too sure about online mode. For longer races they should increase it, but for shorter races probably have a less chance of a safety car coming out. But you'll have to let me know on that one. So yeah, that pretty much concludes all the tweets in this video. I want to thank you for watching if you've watched so far. The gameplay in the background was by RenewableButtons, so thanks to him for providing that. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description, and I'll leave a link to Steve Hood's Twitter so you can check out when he's talking about the new game and whatnot. But hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new about the new game. I can't wait for it to come out. Subscribe if you want to know more about the 2013 game, because as soon as stuff comes out, I'll be on it like a fat kid on cake. So yeah, until the next sort of 2013 video comes out, I'll see you next time.